weather outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful. And since we've no place to go, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. It doesn't show signs of stopping, and I brought some corn for popping. The lights are on way down low. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Yes, so we've hit day one of my 12 Days of Christmas, the final film, the final review. It's Christmas Eve. We're going into the festive day itself. So for my final film, my final Christmas film, this journey of 12 Christmas films or the like, I decided to watch the classic Die Hard. Yes. So let's talk about this movie. Now, before I begin, this is my Christmas t-shirt for Christmas Day. Fantastic. Die Hard. So, is Die Hard a Christmas film or isn't it a Christmas film? We may delve into that as this video goes along. So, we know Die Hard, fantastic film. What can I say? This film came out in 1988. But for us here in the UK, it came out on February the 3rd of 1989. Rated 18 and running for 2 hours and 12 minutes. Now, I didn't get to see this film at the cinema because I was too young. But I remember the excitement I felt when I knew that I could go and see Die Hard 2 because the rating had dropped slightly to a 15. But that's another story. Die Hard, as you know, Bruce Willis spawned a load of sequels. Yeah, to lesser effect, but no, some of them very good, very good. Not the last one, but anyway, again, that's another story. Now, this film was directed by John McTiernan, who's quite a famous director. He directed Die Hard 3 after this. He directed the other 80s great classic action film Predator, and he directed The Hunt for Red October, among some other stuff. The film stars Bruce Willis as your main hero, John McClane, Alan Rickman as Hans Gruber, Bonnie Bedelia as Holly Gennaro, Holly McClane, Reginald Val Johnson as Al Powell, and a host of other actors in supporting roles, Robert Davey as FBI agent, etc, etc. The film had a budget of $28 million. Quite a modest budget, really, you know. And it went on to gross worldwide 142 million. But, you know, this was an 18 rated film, right? Now, it had a musical score by Michael Kamen, who'd also done movies like The 4 Lethal Weapons. He went on to do Die Hard 2 and 3, License to Kill, the 007 film, as well as a wealth of other films itself. Now, interestingly, this film is based on a book by Roderick Thorpe called Nothing Lasts Forever. Now, the role of John McClane was actually first offered to Frank Sinatra, who would have been quite old at the time, but 20th Century Fox were contractually obligated to offer the role to him, because in 1966 Frank Sinatra had made a film called The Detective. Now, Nothing Lasts Forever as a book is a sequel to the book of that film. So thusly, when they adapted this book into Die Hard, the role had to be offered first and foremost to Frank Sinatra, who, like I said, would have been way too old to do it anyway, so that was never going to happen. They knew it was just you know, they had to do it. They had to offer the role. I mean, imagine if he'd actually been given it. Jesus Christ, what would have happened then? So, this film is obviously set at Christmas time. So Bruce Willis plays New York police officer John McClane, who's travelled to Los Angeles, where his wife is working in the Nakatomi Plaza. And he's been invited over for the holidays to see his children. They're kind of separated. They're married but separated. She's going by her maiden name because it's a Japanese business. And you know, married women and all that sort of rubbish. Anyway, so terrorists, they're not really terrorists, they're more robbers, but under the guise of terrorists, take control of Nakatomi Plaza because they want to get into the vault within. But being perceived as terrorists, it has a knock-on effect and causes stuff to be put into place by the FBI to enable them to get into this vault. So yeah, this film, you know the story. John McClane, an everyday man who gets caught up in this tower block. It's locked down, and he has to survive and fight the terrorists. And yeah. That's pretty much it. It's the greatest action film ever made. Jesus Christ, this film is fantastic. It's phenomenal. I can't say nothing bad about this film. This film set the bar for action movies for decades to come. It is a classic, and even now it is a joy to watch. I don't know if it's a Christmas film or not. All I know is that Christmas is a time for me to watch it. I do watch it at Christmas. So you can have that argument, is it, isn't it a Christmas film? It can be, it's one of those films that is set at Christmas. You can enjoy it at Christmas. It doesn't leave you with a festive cheer or anything like that most of the other films have that I've reviewed over the past 11 days before this. But it certainly has a Christmas in its DNA. You know, there's Christmas in pretty much every scene. There's Christmas in the music. And yeah, now Bruce Willis gives a fantastic performance in this film as John McClane, unlike his performances of recent year where he just sleepwalks through everything. At this point, Bruce Willis cared. He was still filming the TV series Moonlighting at the time. Moonlighting being a TV series that I would watch and I did love, and I do have them all on DVD. Fantastic series. Bruce Willis at his best. You know, Alan Rickman steals the show as Hans Gruber. Again, he's fantastic in this film. You know, Bonnie Bedelia's okay, you know. Reginald Val Johnson as our pal, the sort of man on the ground. Fantastic. Yeah, it's just a joy from beginning to end. Now, this is filmmaking at its best. This is action at its best. This film doesn't throw you into the action like films do of today. You know, nowadays people have got such little concentration that a film has to give you a massive big action set piece from the get-go. No, not Die Hard. This was written properly. It starts off slow and it builds tension, and all the way along this tension is increasing and increasing and increasing and increasing. It relies on the use of different sorts of camera play, different sorts of camera angles. The scene where Bruce Willis first meets Hans Gruber, not realising that he's Hans Gruber. He thinks he's Bill Clay. Hans Gruber says he's Bill Clay, and Bruce Willis hands him the empty gun. The minute that Hans Gruber pulls that gun onto Bruce Willis, your camera angles are tilted slightly for each, you know, on each character. When it goes back and forth between the two, instead of having your camera angles like that, your camera angles shift to this sort of a pattern to convey a sense of, you know, make it feel like it's off. As an audience member, you don't know what's going to happen at this point, so you're thrown into sort of a chaotic kind of a feel. So it does this sort of use. The music is used to great effect, to convey emotion, to convey action, to convey the suspense of the film. It's just a joy from beginning to end. Now, I did happen to watch the 4K version, which I bought a little while ago. But interestingly, this is the first time I've ever watched this film on 4K. And it looks lovely. It looks fantastic. It sounds fantastic. Very pleased with that. Otherwise, it was just the standard Blu-rays. Again, no problem with that. Great on that as well. Now, interestingly, the 20th Century Fox building actually played host to the Nakatomi Tower. That's what they used to cut down on costs. And there's an interesting scene at the end where they had no music scored for the film. Yeah, the scene where Al Powell pulls the gun on the terrorist at the end when they're on the street level, and the terrorist you think's been hung and has survived the explosion of the upper part of the building, this sort of thing, yeah. When Al Powell pulls the gun on him and shoots him, the music at that point is actually scored by James Horner. It was taken from Aliens, that that piece of music, and you can hear it. You can hear James Horner. If you've got an ear for music and you know James Horner's music as well, you can hear it in there. There is a difference in between Michael Kamen and James Horner. But Michael Kamen, his music is very similar. There's music in this that sounds a lot like in Lethal Weapon, especially Lethal Weapon 2. I can hear it. But even though it's a fantastic, fantastic score. Now, this film is high on my Christmas list, but like I said, is it a Christmas film or isn't it? I don't know. I'm still in two minds, but I do tend to watch it at Christmas. It's an excuse for me to put this film on and watch it once a year. If I was just relying on me watching it whenever, I doubt I'd watch it once a year. But Christmas is the time, and it's always a joy to watch. It's just very, very good. There's nothing else I can say about it. Fantastic film, and what a way to end the 12 days of Christmas. That's it. So tomorrow, I won't be reviewing a Christmas film. Or will I? I don't know. No, I probably won't. It's Christmas Day tomorrow. It's time to be with your family. It's time to get off of your phones, get off of the internet, spend time with your families, talk, laugh, joke, share anecdotes, share presents, give to everyone, and just have a fantastic time. And I hope that's what you do. I hope you have a fantastic day tomorrow and Boxing Day. There's no need to be on here. Please don't come on. Yeah, I want to see my videos hit 0 for those 2 days. I don't want no viewings. That would make me happy, because I'm certainly not going to be on, and neither should you be. Anyway, this is AJ. I really hope you have a really good Christmas. And I'll see you at some point after. Anyway, best wishes to you all. But before you go, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It is Christmas, so why not? This is AJ. Thanks a lot. I'll see you on the next one. Take care all, and goodbye.